Tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Proverbs. My name is Simon Javan Okello, and I'm excited to be here with you for a beautiful session of the Daily African Proverbs. We do this every single day, Monday to Friday, and our hope is that, when we do this, we also, make our ancestors smile, we make them proud, and we also bring our African community together globally with the hopes that we help preserve the African culture. So this morning we are live streaming on YouTube, and we are also live here on Clubhouse. I'm going to add the link to the YouTube live stream at the top of the Clubhouse room in just a moment. But I really want to just welcome you, Devon, and Andrew. I see that we have Mercy here in the room, as well as Victoria. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm always excited to be here for the Daily African Proverbs. Today we are taking a virtual journey all the way to Angola. I wonder if you've seen the proverb that is currently the latest post on my Instagram. I would encourage you to check it out and leave a comment there. But it's also the latest tweet on my Twitter account. Both my Instagram and Twitter are at Okello Javan. You can follow me over there. But the proverb says, don't despise the nut. One day it will be a palm tree. Don't despise the nut. One day it will be a palm tree. I wonder what this proverb means to you. When you hear this proverb, what comes to your mind? That's what we want to discuss today. We want to talk about what this proverb means to me, what it means to you, and what it means to everybody else and our community in general. For me, when I look at this proverb, it reminds me of parenting. It reminds me so much of parenting, especially because, I'm a father of 3 girls, and I spend a lot of time with my 3 girls. I'm a full-time father, and all the work I do outside of being a father is really essential to my parenting skills, whether it's podcasting, which is why I do this Daily African Proverbs, whether it's my work with One Vibe Africa, all of it contributes to how I parent my 3 girls. And so this proverb reminds me that sometimes there are things that I don't want my children to know, or I don't want them to do at some, at specific times, in their lives. But this proverb is reminding me that sometimes I should just take the risk and let them do these things, so that I can see how they respond to doing things that children are not expected to do. Sometime, like last night, Kenya is the name of my last born. She was, trying to get on top of the kitchen countertop in a very dangerous way, and she was so confident that she was going to make it. But I was watching her from far, and I was sure she was going to fall down and hurt herself badly. And so from the other side of the room, I was literally yelling and saying, "Hey, you cannot do that." But she was confident, and she was just saying, "I promise you, trust me." And with her little voice, when she's telling you, "I promise you, trust me," I almost want to let her do it, but I also see how close she is to falling down. So I eventually went and helped her out, but she was so mad, for like 15 minutes. She could not forgive me. So this is what I'm reminded when I look at this proverb. But I know that there are so many angles that we can look at this proverb and learn from it. So I want to open the space and hear from Andrew, and then Victoria, and then Kunle, and then Devon. And I also want to encourage you to ping in people into the room. Clubhouse is now allowing you to share, these conversations with a bigger community of people by going into, on your screen at the bottom left corner, you can share it within Clubhouse or outside of Clubhouse. So try that, and let's bring in more people into this little village. Andrew, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. Share with us your perspectives on this proverb.
About it. Um, and so don't look at a seed necessarily as something that it's small, but it actually contains a forest, because in the seed there's a tree, and as the tree uh, gets grows its fruit, those fruit fall to the ground, and in the seed, those seeds get planted and it continues to grow. So in the seed, there's actually a forest. And with that, I am complete for now.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew, for sharing with us your words of wisdom. And, welcome to everybody else who is just joining us. This is the Daily African Proverbs. And, we are here to dissect African proverbs and gain African wisdom. The hope is that by the end of our conversation today, we learn something that we take away from this conversation. So I encourage you to join us on stage if you're in the room, and also I encourage you to ping in one or two people to join us into the room. Now we are going to hear from the wonderful Victoria. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. Share with us your perspectives on today's proverb from Angola.
Good morning, Simon. It's been a long time.
It's really been a
Crystal.
long time.
Yes, Crystal, good morning. Can I hear your voice, Crystal?
Hey, good morning.
Everybody that I know, good morning. It's been almost 7 months or more. I had where I was moving from one city to another, leaving a relationship behind to start over. And with every beginning of something, it takes a lot. There was courage that I needed to harness those responsibilities that I had to pay attention to. And so taking time away to come here and mingle, I just didn't have the space at the moment. But I'm coming out on the other side. So I was up early this morning because I'm taking a look at the market, and I saw it popped on my phone that Daily African Proverb is on, so I jumped in to arrive. And thanks for having me, Simon. Okay, now back to the proverb. I like the way you defined it, Simon. There's no other better way to say it than to see that, yes, something small, like a child, can grow up to have a major impact. And we sometimes don't necessarily have to look at the background of the child. A perfect example for that is, I love the Obamas. If you look at the president himself, didn't necessarily have a clear path of being raised by both parents in a loving home and all the goods that come with having people that love you surround you. He had some struggles, but at some point he was the president of the United States for 2 terms. So that's, for me, it's one of a clear example relevant to parenting and for starting small, or do not despise this beginnings. And I also love the way Andrew defined it. Most of these companies that we know, they were started in a garage, not somewhere fancy. Now, to bring it back to relate to ourselves, that's what I always like to do, something that I can take on personally or you personally and apply it to your life. I think one of the greatest thing that you and I should learn is consistency on whatever little that we have. If we can learn consistency, which is my biggest challenge, then we can see that whatever little we have, we can grow it if we maintain the consistency of whatever it is. If it is going to the gym, we go to the gym every morning, and not we go today and then next week we miss, and then next week we miss. And then if it is a business, every day we do something. If it is being present on social media, every day we do something. So as I challenge myself to learn consistency, I want to invite you to join me on it. I see that it is the most important aspect of growing anything, and actually staying in the power of, I don't want to use the word building authority because it's not necessarily we're looking to build authority, but it's the one thing that actually can go for a long haul. It's a long-term strategy to everything that you want to do. And so I'm so glad to be back. I live in San Diego now. I may not be able to be coming up every morning at 6 because there are times I have either I wake up late or just the time difference. But every time I'm able to see that the room is up, I will absolutely come. And I'm so glad to reconnect again. I hope you all have a wonderful day ahead today. Thanks for listening.
Of course, of course. You're so close to me. I think you're moving towards where I am, so keep coming. You're not too far. We are in the same time zone now. And, congratulations for all the courage and all the amazing work that you do, Victoria. You're one of the people that, encouraged me at the very beginning of the Daily African Proverbs to continue, growing it and making it something. And, as a result, it's now becoming something. And consistency has been one of the biggest, ingredients in the recipe of making the Daily African Proverbs what it is today. So thank you. And welcome everybody who is just joining us. This is the Daily African Proverbs. We are live streaming on YouTube and also here on Clubhouse. If you want to join me on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, the link is at the top of the room here on Clubhouse. And I'm grateful to everybody else who is already there. I see that Red Sanford is commenting and, just saying Grand Rising over here on YouTube. If you are in the Clubhouse space, I encourage you to follow the African Father in America Club, where this conversation is hosted every Monday to Friday. And, I want to continue on and listen to Kunle. Kunle, share with us what today's proverb from Angola means to you. Thank you. And just in case, Kunle, you're unfamiliar with where to unmute, you should go to the bottom right corner of your screen, you'll be able to find the microphone button that will enable you to unmute and share your perspectives. Thank you so much. And while Kunle is doing that, I want to encourage everybody else in the room, please ping in 3 to 5 people and also share this room here on Clubhouse and also, on other platforms as well. Feel free to take clips, of this conversation and share it on other platforms as well. Thank you so much. Kunle, are you there? Okay, we'll move on promptly to Davon. Davon, thank you again for joining us today. I saw you yesterday. It means a lot that you're here. Today we are taking a virtual journey to Angola, and the proverb says, "Don't despise the nut. One day it will be a palm tree." What do you think when you read this proverb? What comes to your mind? This is Simon speaking. I suspect that Davon is probably far away from her microphone as well. So we are going to move on to Crystal. We will come back to you, Davon, and also Kunle. Crystal, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. What's your thoughts about today's proverb?
Well, good morning. Hey, Simon, everyone. Hi. Don't despise the nut. One day it will be a palm tree. Um, I think about how we don't really give the same reverence to trees as we do the nuts. We walk over nuts. We don't see the nuts. They're materially small, but what ends up growing from it, that is what produces the tree. It also kind of mirrors our journeys in life. Those low seasons, those smaller moments aren't really given the same appreciation, or we don't look at it the same as the bigger moments, those more glamorous moments. And oftentimes when we're in our high seasons, we forget the low seasons. Or when we see someone who is very prominent, or who has a lot of money, like that is what we glamorize, but we don't always know what it takes to get there. So back to the proverb, even in the literal sense of a palm tree, we don't see that tree for its seed or its nut, or where it started. So that's my interpretation of the proverb.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I agree completely. Thank you again for your perspectives. And I want to welcome you, Vance. I feel that you're visiting here with us for the first time. Share with us what you think this proverb means to you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Simon. Thank you for having me. Similar to what someone said earlier, I just got a notification on my phone and something told me to press it. I'm glad for joining. But for me, my immediate thought was that, it's easy to find ourselves so attached to things, even attached to the third dimension. Because when you look at the fourth, and that's how things move across time. The nut and the palm tree are always the same thing. Yet, if we have a problem with the nut, we associate ourselves with our problem with the nut, as opposed to looking at the processes that brought everything to what it is at that point in time. If you have a problem with a person, often say it was completely different circumstances, you might love that person entirely. You might get along quite well, but because of the circumstances, because of how you were introduced to that person, or because of the first thing that you ever heard about them before being introduced to them. And, all things tend to convolute. It's sort of like a butterfly effect sometimes. So my first thought upon reading it was just being willing to detach yourself from a situation, being willing to detach yourself from the identification that you make with a certain thing, because if the palm tree was abusive to you, it was a nut at one point in time, innocent. If the nut was abusive to you, it will be a palm tree at one point in time, grown and mature and wise. And it can't get there without experiences, without hardships. So yeah, I was inspired towards detachment from this somehow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for your perspectives. You know, as you're sharing, I was also reminded of a recent documentary that I watched on YouTube about this old man. I think he's in Senegal. I think he's in Senegal. It's either Senegal or Burkina Faso. But he's very famous for planting baobab trees. And, in his community, anybody that plants a baobab tree, as the baobab tree sprouts and grows from a nut, from the seed, it's always believed that if you are the one who planted it, you die. And so this guy has planted thousands of baobab trees, and his children are now doing that business with him. It's like, they've planted bushes and forests of the tree. And so it was just amazing watching him planting more, digging holes and planting it. It reminded me of my own gardening, because a lot of the time, I plant seedlings, whether it's kale, whether it's onions, from the seed bed, and watch it, water it, nurture it until we eat it. And we even have surplus during the summers here in Seattle. We have surplus that we give to our neighbors, and our neighbors can't consume all of it. So I post on my Instagram, and I start sharing it with people, in the larger Seattle area. And so people drive by and pick up vegetables and cucumbers and, all sorts of things. So it's just magical how, you basically have to have faith that this thing, one day it's going to blossom and become something much bigger than what you even anticipated. So thank you again, Vince. And to everyone who just joined us, this is the Daily African Proverbs. We host this room every single day, actually Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're watching on YouTube, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, so that when we have these conversations in the future, you can be, notified by YouTube. And also push the bell button, so that, YouTube can actually let you know when we are live, like today. And then leave us your comment. If you're watching this video later on after we've gone live, leave me your comment, just sharing what today's proverb from Angola means to you. Now, I just want to check in with Kunle briefly, and Davon, can you tap your mic to let me know whether you're available to share? Okay, I see that Davon is available. We'll come to you now. Share with us what your thoughts are about today's proverb. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Simon. Thank you again for hosting this space. When I think about the proverb, I'm actually like Victoria. I like to kind of relate it to my own experience and share based off of what I know and where I am at. And for me, the nut represents patience. Like, I have actually a lot of trouble with patience. Like, I like to get things done like right away. That's just, I guess, my character. And this past year, since my last birthday, I have been working extremely hard on patience. So um, when I think about the nut, I I think a little bit of us, or maybe, I'm not the only one, we have to sort of not despise the nut, not despise the process that it turns into the palm tree, and just kind of watch it grow. And as you were talking about the kale earlier, like, it's really with anything that we do, what we plant and what we want to grow, and let it actually grow. And with that, I'm done speaking.
Wonderful, wonderful. I agree. It's truly with everything. Everything you have to for example, the daily African proverbs. At the beginning of bringing this to a community where we could gather around the fire like we are right now virtually, and dissect these African proverbs. Sometimes I had so much problems with my own, uh, self-esteem and doubts, and whether this is what I should be spending my time doing every morning. And I despised this nut. And for a long time I didn't know that this nut could become the palm tree that it's becoming. Now I know that it's becoming a palm tree because, for example, Africa Day could have not been possible if it was not for the daily African Proverbs. Africa Day last year, we every day we were mobilizing for Africa Day. With the Tigray genocide, the civil unrest in Ethiopia, through this room for the longest time we were creating space for a lot of Tigrayan activists and community members share their issues and seek help. And we've promoted so many authors and so many leaders through this platform. And we've also really gained so much in terms of African spirituality and just learning where we came from. For example, every Thursday hosting Gogo Rutendo Ngara has really exposed me to so many books that I didn't even know existed, so many polyglots from the African continent that I didn't even know about. So really, I just love what you had to say. Now, Kunle, are you there? I just want to check with you one more time before we move on to my brother Joseph Kafunda. Kunle? Okay. Now, Joseph, you are one of the people I appreciate a lot because of the support you continue giving me with the daily African proverbs, and also with the hidden travel gems in Africa that we host every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. PST. So I want you to speak about that and share with us your perspectives on this proverb as well. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Simon. Good afternoon or good morning to everyone. Simon, I'm gonna say that you are trying to make my heart beat fast, because within 2 weeks' time I'll be in Angola. I'm planning to travel to Angola and explore that part of the African continent once more again. And today's proverbs, as you said, it's coming from Angola. It's really gonna touch my heart so much. But other than that, I believe that we are all good, and we should be able to learn how to travel. Yeah, Simon, talking about our room for tomorrow, I can't wait, because I just discover something new each and every day. That traveling allow me to become so many versions of myself. Because if I couldn't travel, I wouldn't become who I am today. I wouldn't be able to share what I've learned from everybody. So I invite everybody on this room, join us tomorrow. It's gonna be around 10 p.m. Uh, West African time. It's about 11 p.m. Southern African time, and East Africa it's gonna be about midnight. And Pacific time, I think it's gonna be around 1 p.m. Pacific time. So join us tomorrow. But the best way is to follow the moderator, follow Simon, or follow me. As soon as the room goes on, you can be able to come, join, sit, relax, enjoy the traveling around your own comfort zone. Because what we do, we share our travel experiences, where we have been, what we have explored, so that we can continue with traveling virtually instead of physically. Although we know 2022, there's a slight changes in regulations, especially the COVID regulations, that we might be able to find ourselves this year in Kenya, if all goes well with Simon, with the tour that he's busy organizing. But I invite each and everyone. To come back to the today's um, daily proverbs, don't despise the nut. One day it might be the palm tree. Simon, I'm gonna take this context out. Uh, and put it into a human being. A lot of time we underestimate our juniors. And I'm gonna compare those juniors to the nuts. They came into your company, or they've been employed by the same company as you. We intend to despise them because we look at them and we say they are junior, they don't know anything. At the same time, one day those juniors could be actually our boss. It's in a human nature where we have to be jealous. That is why we depress the people. We suppress them. We make sure that they become useless, or they think that they are useless, although they are valuable to the company. And one day they are the same people that will go back and say, please, can you give me a job, or can you be able to employ me? So I think we as human beings, we need to assist one another. That's why I said, let me change the narrative and put it into a human being context. Let's network, let's connect with one another, let's educate one another, because one of the good day, you might not know where I'm sitting at. I might be the CEO, I might be the biggest boss, that you are looking for a job, you have been searching for a job, but because you suppress me, you despise me when I was young, when I was a junior, and you find me there, you even be ashamed of yourself. So it's connectivity, networking. Let's connect, let's work together as human beings, because one day you might not know where you will end up at. So please, let's collaborate, let's network. That is a 2022 concept that everybody should look at. Let's not underestimate people. Let's work, and we continue building what we have been taught to build. I thank you, Simon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, my brother Joseph Kafunda. And, for those who want to learn more about the trip I'm planning for July and September to Kenya, let me know, or join us at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow in the One Vibe Africa Club here on Clubhouse. And then if you want to learn today, just send me a back channel message, and I'll be able to send you a form that you can fill, just letting me know a little bit about you, so that I can include you in the group that we want to travel with to Kenya in July. Now I also see that we have a few more new guests who have just joined us for today's session. Welcome. In the Daily African Proverbs, when it gets to 6:30 a.m., we turn off hand raising. And I want to do that in a moment, but I just want to recognize Carlton and Stephen, who are joining us from Kenya. Even if you're new to Clubhouse, you can always come up on stage, introduce yourself. And the way to join us on stage is on the right lower side of your screen. There's that little thing with somebody's hand, on a notepad. That's what you push on that, and we'll be able to see that you want to come and speak. We'll bring you up on stage. And with Clubhouse, it's an app where 50% of utilizing it is on the stage. The other 50% is just listening. So I encourage you to come up if you can. And if you are also in the room, I encourage you to ping in a couple of people to join us for today's conversation. Share the conversation, with your friends here on Clubhouse by using the share button on the lower left hand right side, and also clip some of these gems that are being dropped in the room so that you share it on Twitter. And let's continue building. For now, I want to go ahead and introduce Zizi. Zizi is an amazing elder, and I want to hear what you have to say about this proverb, Zizi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. It's always a pleasure to be here, and especially the interesting, proverbs you select. To me, I noticed that when there's a young person who's a genius, nobody gives young people a chance, because they may end up being someone like Einstein or whatever. We discount sometimes what children tell us, or or their opinions, although I myself found that I learned a lot from my children, and they had wiser solutions because it's not corrupted by all the don't do this and don't do that at the beginning. So to me, I don't think we should despise young people. We should encourage them to become creative and tell us what they think and learn from them. Thank you, Simon.
You're most welcome, Zizi. I agree. We should always encourage young people to share their ideas with us and share, what they think with us, because through that they not only learn but we also learn at the same time. Let's hear from Nonofo. Nonofo, share with us what this proverb from Angola means to you.
Okay, thank you, Simon, and good afternoon, everyone. For me, it means do not despise the day of small beginnings. Do not despise the day of small beginnings, because you see with pillars, they grow underground, yet you see the flowers above the ground. Oftentimes, you would mistake it for just a flowering leaf with no fruit. But with time, as time goes on, you'll begin to see the ground cracking, with the nuts building up. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter if right now where you are spending, where I'm spending, what you're doing doesn't seem to profit or to be recognized. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. Persevere, continue, try, make it happen. Slowly but surely, you'll break the ground. Slowly but surely, what you are doing would be seen. That's what it means to me. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much for being here with us, Nonofo. And we are going to move on. My favorite thing about the Daily African Proverbs is not me talking and sharing what I know, but facilitating this conversation and getting to really learn from each one of you. So it means a lot that you're here. I want to hear what Dr. No Days Off has to say about this proverb. Thank you again for being here with us today.
Hey, well, good morning, Simon. Good morning, room. Hope everybody's having a great day. Yeah, this is a very interesting proverb, and I have to agree with Joseph because Joseph talked about it as far as putting it into a person and looking at the younger generation and looking at people that are possibly younger than you or less experienced than you, and you shun them or you prejudge them because of the fact that they're younger than you or they're less experienced than you are. And then it also reverses and goes back the other direction too. You might shun somebody or prejudge them because they're more experienced than you or they're older than you. Um, so and what you're doing is you're not building the correct networks, as Joseph was talking about, building the correct relationships, because you don't know where this that person is going to take you one day. A prime example is I have a young man that I did business that I was he was in the same business as me when we were under the mentorship of my mentor, my business mentor years ago. And he was a young and a little immature, but he was young. So good guy. He had a great attitude and everything, but he was young. You could tell he was young in business. My wife and I were more successful in him in business than he was. And we had a great relationship. He was a fun guy to be around and things like that. But one of the things that I loved about him is he kept showing up, even though he did not have much success in business. He kept showing up. He kept showing up. Um, and then we had moved on, grew our business and moved on, and lost contact with the young man. And then maybe I'm gonna say maybe I'm gonna say about maybe 5 to 7 years later, we're actually in another state. We are halfway across the country now, and we were actually introduced to someone. We were doing some business. We were introduced to someone, and someone had mentioned a name, right? And so the name sounded familiar to me, but I just didn't, I didn't put two and two together. Uh, and then I kept hearing the name every once in a while, but it just didn't put two and two together. Uh, and then we was at a business conference, and uh, then I actually saw the young man, and the young man saw me, and lo and behold, it was the same young man that we have known for the last 7+ years. The difference was, that he was now a multi millionaire. And he was actually the premier speaker of the conference. And the reason why I didn't put the name together was because the pronunciation of his last name had changed, right? So that's why it didn't dawn on me that I knew this guy for the longest time, and to see from where he was. And what is amazing is, we still know each other today. We still talk today, and when he's very successful, highly successful now. And when he talks, of course, some people will have the notion of saying, well, maybe that's not true about his background, about him sleeping in his car, about him not having money, about him failing in business and things. And it was amazing because when we was at the conference, he's like, I actually have two people that can verify that knew me back then that are here today. And we would let everybody know, yeah, this young man, he was not the young man that you see on stage today. He was not that young man. I mean, he had the potential, but he just wasn't that person at that time. Um, and so you never know, what's going to transpire. Now, I'm not saying connect with people because they're younger. I'm not saying connect with people because they're inexperienced. See, they have to have a basic, they have to have a baseline of wanting to, build a relationship with. They have to have a baseline of wanting to connect with, and so not just to connect with them, to connect with them, because we all know, and Simon can attest to this in gardening, and my wife is big in gardening, is we all know that every time you plant, it doesn't necessarily mean that particular seed is going to bear fruit. That's why you plant more than one, right? Because anything can happen. Anything can get to that seed, or the seed just maybe had a genetic defect or something of that nature. But as long as you're doing your part, as long as you're not prejudging, as long as you're not dismissing individuals because of them being from a different generation, or them being from a different culture, or them being from, or them having less experience than you do, and vice versa, them having more experience than you do, them being from a different culture, or them being older than you, then you're not going to gain in your destiny, and in your endeavors. And I turn the platform back over to you, Simon.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for your amazing story about that young man. It was vividly, imprinted in my brain. I'm very, very impressed by all the stories that you normally share with us here in the Daily African Proverbs, and for all the work that you do. Bina, welcome. It's wonderful to
Hey,
have you. Yes, go
Simon, real
ahead.
quick,
Go
if you
ahead.
don't mind, I apologize. I want to say this too about that young man. What is so amazing, the reason why his pronunciation of his name was different was because when he was younger, it was by one name, right? But in actuality, he became highly successful. He is actually, I didn't know this back then, but he is actually from Nigeria. His family's from Nigeria. So he was actually going by the correct pronunciation of his last name. And because of his success, he actually goes back to Nigeria and does great work. And, so you never know how somebody can affect, or different countries, by the same concept. So I just want to just put that out there too, and let you know that. So he is actually doing some wonderful, wonderful things as a multimillionaire.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, when good people get access to the resources that they need, they are able to do more good work. So I can totally relate to what became of that young man. Now I want to welcome Bina to the stage. Thank you so much for joining us. Share with us what your thoughts are on today's proverb.
Firstly, hi Simon, my dear friend, and hello everybody else on the stage and in the audience and in this room. And I wish you all a very happy 2022, and let there be light, peace, and a lot of health, good health to everybody out here. So, yes, this really is interesting, Simon. I love this proverb. It says, "Don't despise the nut. One day it will be a palm tree." You know what I feel about this proverb is, don't be condescending towards people, because, and do not be judgmental, because one fine day, after years may pass, they could turn out to be something else than what we have ever imagined them to be. So never be condescending. And a fine example of that, I would say, is uh, look at Barack Obama. I'm talking about different cultures. Don't be condescending to different cultures, different, even people of different sexuality and all of that. Because as I rightly told you, just look at Barack Obama. He went on to become the president of United States, and the world kind of adored him. So I precisely would say, do not judge people without knowing what the outcome could be. Always be encouraging, whatever it may be. Encourage uh, children, encourage people of different cultures, sex, class, different, from different walks of life, because everybody is important. So you never know how they started. They might have, it might have been a hard road for them. It is a hard road for everybody. So with that said, uh, I would say approach things with kindness, and it is very important to approach anything and everything with kindness. Kindness should be on top of your list, and gratitude and being grateful should be some of the virtues that one should practice to lead a very fulfilled and a very satisfied life. So, yes, with that, I congratulate you on this wonderful topic, Simon. And I yield the mic back over to you, my dear friend. Thank you so very much. This is Bina, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us. It means a lot. And, I hope you're going to join us again soon and keep up all the amazing work that you do. As you are sharing, I also felt that it's good for us to also not be condescending to ourselves, because a lot of the time we are also the nut, and many times we find ourselves encouraging other people. If we are parents, we encourage our children. If we are teachers, we encourage our students. If we are entrepreneurs, we encourage our customers, but we forget about ourselves. And so I just wanted to remind you all that we should always encourage ourselves just like we encourage other people, because we are also a very, very important, being. And now
That was very, very beautifully said, Simon. I really loved what you said just now. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much. Now I want to introduce Mala, who is an amazing contributor to this space and supporter. Mala, I hope you're doing well. Share with us what your thoughts are on today's proverb.
Good morning from Philadelphia. Well, great day because there's different, parts of the day. I love that this group is so diverse and so worldwide that we get to come into this audio space and connect. And I just love the wisdom of this room and the ability to tap into this continuous source of wisdom that was left, by our ancestors. And the idea that we are all made in the image and likeness of the divine, and we all come into the world not in our fullest form, right? We've come accepting an assignment, but we have to grow. We have to go through whatever is part of our life's journey, and it can be so challenging to not to look at the highlight reels of others and be frustrated, be challenged, or think less when you are navigating the very things that are going to be the technology, that are going to be the secret sauce, the superpowers that are going to allow you to stand firm in all that is your destiny and all that is a part of your path in this realm. And so you know from seed comes everything. Like, that's just such a microcosm. So yes, some people illuminated in how we treat young people. There's a phrase that says, be careful of how you entertain strangers because you could be entertaining angels unaware. But I think for me, it's just the idea of honoring the divinity in all of us, that we are all yet developing and all long awaited, and that we matter. We matter not because of what we have or what we do or what we drive or where we come from, and those things are great, but because we are that spirit, that so many things had to happen in space and time for you to have the privilege of taking up oxygen, even if it's not your best day. That you are truly your ancestors' wildest dreams, and whatever it is that you do with this life, it is a privilege. It has me kind of sitting with both, the ways that we can hold more than one thing at a time, that things can be blessings and be challenging, and not to kind of lean into toxic positivity, but just to hold things as they are, to hold each other as they are, for us to be well and to be good to ourselves and to be good to one another. So this is Marla, and I'll return to listening. Thank you, Simon, and I so appreciate you in this space, and everyone on the stage and on YouTube.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Mala. Your support is always appreciated. Thank you again for your contribution. Let's hear from Leah. Leah, share with us what your thoughts are on today's proverb from Angola, and then we'll go to Kesiwa, and then we'll begin wrapping up our session for today. Thank you so much.
Morning, Simon and everyone. Simon, thank you so much for curating a space like this, almost like every day. And we appreciate it, and we actually need it. For me, I feel about this proverb, I want to make an example of the Zambian president currently. This man lost 5 elections and he finally became the president. In the years that he's been attempting for his presidency, he's been arrested, he's been mistreated, he's been mistreated to utmost. But when he became the president, he didn't mistreat anyone. Like, he has risen up as a palm tree out of this nut that everybody disregarded. As you may know, our elections and all these political issues we have, especially in most African countries, they they're really brutal. For me, we had to exile my home country when I was little, and I was so bitter about that. I was so bitter about having to leave my home country because of political issues or whatever. When I grew up, I always had it in me. I believe Miss Marla just mentioned how we're here to accept assignments, and everything that we go through in life, I believe, is part of growing us into palm trees. Currently, We're on our way to repatriate back home and build a boarding school for expats and street kids and everything. So all of us have an assignment, and we have to listen to our innermost, calling. We have to pay attention to that. We have to sit in our own silence every day and listen to what the assignment is. Every single day, you have to work towards that, expressing God through you, expressing God, His majesty. All of us have God's majesty. We're all nuts that start off as a nut and should and are capable of growing into a palm tree. So don't ever disregard yourself. Don't let this world discourage you. You are here for a specific assignment. Thank you, Simon, and the entire room. I appreciate this moment.
Oh, Leah, you're welcome. And I thank you for your contribution. And I also thank you, Mala and Bina, Dr. Nodezov, every single individual on the stage. Oh, I see Kunle is now ready. Kunle, share with us your perspectives briefly.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving us this wonderful piece of wisdom. And I recall the biblical reading of Jesus Christ about the mustard seed. And everything you all have said basically links to the idea that we can all grow to become larger than we currently are. And I'm happy that there's a perspective on how we treat children, because it seems that is where we can get it right. So I love everything I've heard, and I will be willing to volunteer to put in every single Proverbs in graphical illustration, so we can, after our meetings, share them in our social networks. So yeah, I would like anyone who's willing to get the this present proverb in graphical illustration. I would love to share it. I can see that there's no way to share it on Clubhouse yet, so I guess I would just share it via any platform of your choice. So thank you for your words of wisdom. I'm happy to be here.
Kunle, thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful for your contribution, and I am also grateful for your offer to, help with sharing and creating the graphical representation of the Proverbs every day. I followed you. Follow me on Instagram and send me a DM there, and share with me what you come up with from today's proverb. And I also want you to know that it's amazing you're bringing this up today, because before this room I was in a WhatsApp call with a Ugandan artist who is based in South Africa, and I was connected to her by Gogo Rutendo Ngara, who is a well-known spiritual leader based in South Africa but from Zimbabwe. And the idea with this artist is that as we are having this room, is creating art that depicts what people are saying and what the proverb is all about. So I feel that we need to create a WhatsApp group with you and this artist, and there's another Kenyan artist that is also very keen on being involved, and he's been a guest here on the Daily African Proverbs multiple times. So it looks like art is going to be a big part of what we are doing here. And again, I want to thank you all for joining me today for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. This is not possible without each one of you here on Clubhouse, and also each one of you who is watching on YouTube. I want to encourage you to go to my Instagram and share with me your thoughts there as well. Leave a comment with your thoughts on today's proverb. And then I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Simon Javan Okello. The link is at the top of the room on Clubhouse. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. here on Clubhouse and also on YouTube. Take great care of yourselves. Peace and love. Thank you.
Peace.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.